allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Calhoun,
Here.
Huseby,
Here.
Kirsch,
Here.
Kissinger Wolf,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Scuball,
Here.
Swente,
Here.
Baloo,
Here.
Zimmerman.
Here. We do have a quorum, so first agenda item is to adopt the agenda as presented. So I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I so move Scuball.
Second, Kirsch.
Motion is second to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Changes? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. District Administrator report.
Couple things tonight just to throw out there. So we recently received the new amendments to the to Title IX regulations. I gave you guys just an outline that was supplied by Boardman Clark that does a really good job of summarizing some of the key points that will be coming our way. So it's important to note these amendments are to be put in place by August 1st. So the timeline is pretty tight for next year. A couple of the things that we're going to have to worry about as a district or plan for is there are some pretty significant changes to the role of the Title IX coordinator within the district and what they do and how they have to go about investigating, what the investigation looks like and the timelines and things like that. So we'll have some administrative training that will get scheduled. WASB works with Boardman Clark to put together the modules. That's what we used the last time that we went through this training. So we're waiting for that to come out. And then there's a couple of other ones as well that we can look at, but more than likely we'll use WASB again. All staff will be required to receive Title IX training on the updates. So in the past, that was just a vector training, like the other trainings that we put out. So we're waiting to see. I've heard that that's going to be the case again. So that shouldn't impact staff training at all or be much different than what we do typically for the start of a school year. And then the last one, you'll be happy to hear, Ron, it will be probably a huge policy dump by NEOLA as they update all their policies to incorporate all the new training. So our policy committee will be looking at that, and we will be
They have to
probably
look at
bringing
it to
some
dump them?
updates. Yeah, right. Well, we'll be looking at those updates, but I'm sure there'll be a number of them coming throughout the summer that we typically didn't
We'll give
have
you
to
a break
deal
this
with.
summer.
Oh my God.
On a lighter note, so we tried something new this year with our summer cleaning schedule and our custodial schedule. So I talked with Arlen Wingate about trying to put a schedule out up front this time of year and get it out to staff. He's completed that. He'll be getting that out soon if he hasn't already. Basically, what we end up with some conflicts from time to time where folks plan their summers around their collaborative meetings or their in-service days that they do on their own. And then, Arlen's cleaning schedule usually goes by where they're at and how much they can get done, because weather can impact it, humidity can impact it, a lot of things can impact the timing of how long it takes wax to dry, so on and so forth. So what we try to do is get something out up front that's got that cushion on both ends so that he's got time if there are some, barring any significant weather, but so that staff can plan their time in the building around that cleaning schedule and know it up front. So he did a really good job. It wasn't an easy task. If you've ever seen how cleaning works in here, it's a big building and a small amount of people that have a huge task in front of them, but they did a really good job of pulling that together. So we're looking forward to maybe avoiding some of those conflicts and, some of the frustration I think that comes from staff finding out maybe a week or 2 weeks before they're supposed to be in the building that they can't access their room or whatever locations that they needed. So, so I'm sure that's going to be a work in progress, but we, basically what I told Arlen is you put the schedule out there and then that's non-negotiable. Everybody plans around that schedule because that cleaning and maintenance schedule is the priority in the summer. So we'll see how that goes and we'll tweak that in coming years if we need to, but I was glad to see that finally got done. And then just a couple of legislative quick updates. So we had our WASDA legislative committee meeting recently. This next coming school year will be the last year of the current biennial budget, which means there will be a lot of talk and and different things about what the priorities for schools need to be statewide for funding. A couple of the priorities that I just wanted to let you know that I'm hearing about is an additional increase to the low revenue limit, which greatly helped our district this time and would in the future as well. We would fall into that category where that would be a good benefit for us. But the biggest benefit, and from what I understand, there's some traction here, would be working to look at increasing the reimbursement rates for special education. So currently it sits at 30%, and you'll see in the financial report as we go through some actual numbers that I'll outline for you that would show how much that would benefit, not just our district, but districts across the state. The talk right now is really about what some sufficient versus some certain. And so looking at getting an increase, 60% might be a lofty goal, but pushing for that number. So there will be some talk, around that. So those are the priority areas that I'm hearing right now as far as school funding goes. And then the last thing, I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but DPI conducted a large-scale workforce report, a study, and a report recently came out. And a few of the key points that were highlighted in that report is one, for the last 14 years, since 2010, they've seen educators across the state have a decrease in earning power by around 19%. So that came up as they did that financial study. More importantly, they looked at some things with staff retention and what they found, and recruitment for that matter, statewide. And what they found is there is a 60% retention rate after 6 years in the profession right now. That means 40% of staff members, of teachers, leave the profession or leave the state, one or the other, or leave public education in general, maybe for a private school or something like that. But they're leaving public schools at a rate of about 40% within the first 6 years of employment, which is a pretty staggering number. And only 67.9% of program completers actually enter public school workforce in this state. So around 30% that get a teaching degree either jump ship and go to a different state or a private school or enter a different profession and don't enter it. So they're going to work over the next few years to establish some longitudinal data with this report. That was the initial one, but they saw some pretty key numbers that obviously need to be addressed statewide. And I think we all know just throughout the Northwoods that we're seeing these things as well. So that is it for my report.
Is
questions?
the last part about the teachers leaving after 6 years and stuff, is that, how long is that study? How far back does that go? Like 10 years ago, was it the same?
I'd have to look. I don't know exactly how they conducted it, over what time period they looked at it.
I just wonder if
May have
that just been the last 2 or 3 years. I'm thinking COVID, before COVID.
Right, I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Sure,
I don't think they
Act 10 had something
analyzed
to
it
do
prior
with
to.
it, too.
Act 10,
That
sure.
had a lot to do with it.
Sure. Okay.
And we used to hear a lot about 3-year retention rate. It was always the first 3 years of a teacher's career, whether if they made it through that, then typically they were locked in pretty well. So I don't know why they came up with the 6, if that was to maybe circumvent the COVID issues and challenges, or.
Yeah.
You had a worksheet that at least I think everyone's seen where you're going to give it to the staff with this is how much you make in retirement, benefits, health insurance, and put that before them so they realize what the total package is. It's not just dollars and cents that comes in the paycheck. It's that total package. I think that's going to be important too to keep in mind.
So every staff member received that with their contract letter.
I
this
think
year.
that's a great idea.
So it laid it out, yeah.
Wendell, I'll direct this to you, but perhaps it should be to Mark. As I remember reading the Act 20 legislation, there's supposed to be a formal report to the board at some point, an annual report, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Have we had that, or are we going to have that?
The Act 20 report, go ahead.
We should be having it, well, we talked about presenting ELA next month.
Next month, yeah, we are.
Yeah, for the whole thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that's what that's gonna be the,
I think it's
The
all
ELA
gonna be
portion,
published
okay.
into it.
So it'll be next month, the
Yeah,
8th.
is there something particular you're looking for in that one? Or are you looking for just like where are we at with Act 20?
Well, it's such a comprehensive and huge undertaking with the educational piece, the staff
Yep.
piece,
The training piece.
So I guess I'm kind of saying if there's 5 major areas,
Yeah.
something on all 5 of those areas, and
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
definitely
remember how
gonna be
many.
part of that process.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks.
And then I guess, my other question, getting back to that report that you gave, how does Wisconsin compare then to other states? Did they look at other states and,
Yes, and you know what, I'll actually take, and after this, I didn't break that down. The report's gotta be 40, 50, 60 pages long, but there are some charts and some graphs in there that show different components of how we rank with a region, not all 50 states, but within, I think, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, and Minnesota probably. So there's some of that in there, but I can send you the link, it's right on the DPI website, and, you can
yeah,
see some of that stuff.
I'd be interested in seeing how far back this goes,
Mhm.
because like I said, I'm sure COVID had something to do with it. But I'd also like to see how we compare to other states. Are we above, below on, with the other states? I think that'd be interesting to see too.
It'd be interesting, we could see other districts in the area too.
Yeah,
See if they're doing something that we can replicate to help out.
yeah. Okay, any other questions on the report? Okay, next item is the consent agenda items, and there's a list of them. Wendell, you want to talk a little bit about that first one with the new teachers and stuff?
Sure. So yeah, we've got number of replacement staff. Some of these are current district employees, so the first 2 that you see, Melinda Vassar and Amber Ames, are both currently employed with the district, but they were occupying positions that were funded through ESSER. And within those 2 positions, we had eliminated a full-time paraprofessional. We didn't eliminate, we had a retirement in a full-time paraprofessional position, and Wendy had converted basically that into a cost savings by having the 2 part-timers, but filled the roles of them as well. Justin Lauber was offered and accepted a position as our high school associate principal, and I sent you guys some information that he supplied. He was hoping to be here, but unfortunately couldn't make it. I learned today, we're talking with Ryan, but possibly the June meeting or August, I think would be a for sure that he'll be in the district. So we look forward to getting him in and getting him settled in. New high school science teacher coming up this year, Kayla Kirschbaum. So Ryan, do you want to just say a few words? I know Kayla's entering the profession. She's going to be working on a license with stipulations and completing a teacher prep program through CISA.
She has a degree in biology, a 4-year bachelor's degree in biology, and is really excited about science. And she's a person that, through some interactions with school, when you were talking about ways to attract teachers, initially started with doing some subbing in some neighboring districts, and then really grew to learn the profession and is very committed to it and very excited to be here with us. So she'll be a great addition to the department.
And then 2 elementary teachers, Hannah Fisher and Emily Bublitz. Now my understanding is they were interviewing for 1 grade level position. We ended up having a resignation and made 2 hires there out of the 1 interview process. So excited to have both of them. I know that they were both really quality interviews, and we're excited to have them join us as well. And then Jarrett Flynn will be taking on the position vacated by Logan Rudis in the high school CTE department.
Okay,
Can I ask where the 2 elementary teachers are, or is that not determined yet?
Oh, grade levels?
Yes,
That's a 3rd and a 4th, if I'm not mistaken, right?
correct. In that order? 3rd and 4th?
Third and 4th, yes, in that order.
okay.
Is
Right,
Jarrett,
go ahead.
well, I'm sorry, is Jarrett an alumni of Tomahawk?
Yes.
Yeah, Jarrett Flynn
Is that
is
Ryan's?
Wendy's, Ryan's.
Yeah,
nephew.
okay.
Ryan, the new assistant principal, I saw he's got a degree in physical education.
That's his undergraduate work, correct? Yeah, that's
Okay.
where he started his teaching.
Is he interested in doing any coaching?
I don't think he's gonna have time.
Huh?
I don't think he's gonna have time.
Well, make time. Okay, just wondering.
And again, like Wendell said, he had a professional obligation, just some items going on with his district that he needed to serve tonight. So otherwise he had fully planned on being here to
Okay.
meet all of you.
Okay, anything else, Wendell, on that?
No.
Okay, the rest of the consent agenda is presented. So I'd entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda items.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is second to accept the consent agenda items. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next one is 8, approve the 25-26 district calendar. This is for next year, of course,
2 years.
or 2 years,
Yep.
yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
we try to stay 2 years out.
Yep, 2 years, thank you.
Will that include a week off for Thanksgiving again?
That is on there, yes. So let me pull, I did attach this, so. if
It
you
is
look
on
at
here,
the-
and what I found out, if you're in the quick view, you have to click on the attachments to be
I'm
able
in
to
the
see it.
slow view.
Oh, the
And
slow
you
view.
have multiple times.
So the-
Yeah,
the-
it is a whole week.
Okay.
And actually, the strange thing about that is Thanksgiving is the last week of November. Usually it's the third Thursday.
Yes.
I mean, but this is one of those years where it falls on the last week, so, and we have a pretty long Christmas break. It's almost a full 2-week Christmas break, so this one is a little more challenging.
No.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to approve the 25-26 district calendar.
So moved, Kirsch.
Long second.
Motion is second to approve the 25-26 district calendar. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, vote to modify the 23-24 district calendar. I think this is to change the last day of school.
Yep. And I also attached that edited or modified version of that to the agenda as well.
Will this affect graduation in any way?
Nope.
Okay, when is graduation?
24th.
Okay,
It's like the same thing.
okay. Okay, and then entertain a motion to approve the modification to the 23-24 district calendar.
Swente, so moved.
Second?
Newsby second.
Okay, motion is second to approve the 23-24 modification to the district calendar. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, staff reports.
So tonight, I
Sorry.
invited, like we try to do every month, and have a department or a group or staff. We bumped DLA back a month. Thought it was important to get Taylor Remington in here to provide the board an update on where her progress in developing this program. And while she gets set up, I can just talk a little bit about it. She's got a PowerPoint that she'll share with you. So Taylor and I meet maybe every other week or so, and I've been able to get updates on her progress and the work that she's been doing since her hire. And I can say, and I try to update the board as I learn more about it as well. But I think you're going to see here tonight the amount of work it takes to set a program up like this for success and ongoing success, and not just to throw classes out there and get them going and work your way through the issues as they come up. And Taylor made a pretty nice reference when we were talking that she goes, she feels like she's starting a business. I said, well, you are starting a business. That's exactly what you're doing. So she's done a really good job of vetting different types of software packages for scheduling, and that would offer point of sale services to the district to try to make the best selection that would fit our needs and the other software packages that we work with. She's really done her research in terms of reaching out to districts that run successful community education programs to see, what pitfalls did you encounter, what types of language should I include in my release forms or my contract forms for instructors and that sort of thing. But most of that stuff she's had to really take and modify to fit where we're at. So I had her take about an hour and 15-minute meeting between her and I and condense it to about 10. So what you're gonna see is a lot of information thrown your way, and I said include it all in a PowerPoint so that the board's got something to look at, to read more about, to link out to different things, and I think she's done a really nice job with that. So While the presentation tonight, we'll try to keep very short. There's a ton of information to look over, and we can always send me your questions, and if I can't answer them, I can certainly hook you up with
So we'll get
Taylor to
the
get them answered.
PowerPoint.
The
It's
PowerPoint
it's
you will get
attached.
as well, and I think
Okay.
there's a PDF version, but let me know if the links work, because I'm not sure if they do or not.
It did, like
Okay.
Deb was having problems I did earlier with calendar, so if you were in your program, you might have to go back out and come back in to come get some.
No. When,
I've
You're
got
not
it.
seeing
how did I miss this?
Oh, I don't know. You got it? I put it on later today.
Okay.
Yep, no problem.
How you got it?
All right, there we go.
We'll see that.
It's still not really extended. I'm sorry guys, just a sec here. Thanks for being patient.
You just have to drag it over there now.
Over it, I think is what I have to do. There we go. Now I should be able to drag it. No? I'm sorry, it's not working. Colleen, would you pull it up?
I can do that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why it's not working for me. I have my notes, so I don't wanna show you guys everything I have to say. I think I sent you a link. You want to record? Yeah, okay. Thanks for talking me up over there, Wendell. I'll just have to let you know when it's ready. And that's all. I got this all set up earlier and then decided not to work on me now. That's how technology works sometimes. All right, we'll roll with it. All right, so hi everyone, Taylor, if you haven't met me here before, I think Lonnie, I haven't met you yet, so.
No.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, so I'm the new Community Ed Program Coordinator here at the school. Here to discuss the Community Ed program, as Wendell said, and kind of where I've been at since I started in December. So I'm gonna go over the foundation and building of the program, the new Community Ed program website, community interest survey, and class ideas, the instructor hiring process, handbook policies, and proposal for instructor pay process, along with the timeline of programs. I'm gonna cap this in 10 minutes, I swear. I have a lot of information on these slides that I'm not going to cover completely for time's sake, but my presentation is attached to the agenda for you to look into further. Go ahead. So I've completed a lot of research to determine the best software for this program. I consulted with a lot of other school district community ed program coordinators throughout the state, such as the highlighted programs here. And I continue to collaborate with these program directors to, I just got, I guess, learn a lot from them and what they're doing. And I learned a lot of valuable knowledge from them while researching to create this successful program. You don't know what you don't know, and I guess it's best not to reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. Okay. So I've been working to build the foundation of this program. I just finished up my training with our online registration software company. They're called MyRec, and I'm currently building the website for online registration that'll be used, it'll be integrated online through our school website, and it'll be for member ease of use, online payment capabilities, and more. And this is kind of just an outline of the training that we completed with MyRec, and it involved live trainings, self-paced trainings, and I'm also was working on like a demo site to kind of get familiar with and learning the software and how to, you know, make fake classes and learn how to set all that up. And then just to get a better understanding of it for scheduling programs, taking the online registration and payments. So this is a link to our new Community Ed program website. It's communityed.myhatchets.org. So it kind of matches along with our emails that we have, so that's nice. This is a snapshot over here of what the front page of our website currently looks like. So it matches our branding colors that we have, so that's all cohesive. And just some features on the side there of what the site offers. I'll be editing the page and adding info for upcoming programs as they're being scheduled for open registration, and I'll go over that in a little bit. The new website allows community members to register for classes through a browser, either on their mobile device or on a desktop. They can register for classes months in advance at a deadline that I choose, if I choose to have a deadline for that. And then we can accept online payments from community members, or they can pre-register ahead of time and pay in person if they choose to do so with a check or with cash. Or they can also mail it in with a check, but we do prefer the online payment method just because of snail mail being slow. And then we can also offer like a digital punch card at memberships if we choose to do so, with barcodes for scanning in person. And I can enter in cash drop-in payments on my end for reporting. For those who still want a physical punch card, we can still offer those if they want to pay in person. And then point of sale can also be implemented in the future. I've been talking with Connor Ahrens in the business department. He joined some of our training and he's excited about doing that as well. And then rentals, if we choose to do rentals. I know we have a lot of equipment too. Just don't want to compete with local businesses, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on that as well. And then add-on projects we can do for point of sale. We can require them or not require them for a class. Say if you're required to purchase a yoga mat, somebody doesn't have one, maybe we can work with a local business, those types of things, just an example. And then we are also able to credit accounts and provide refunds if needed through the software. It would take me a long time to cover what it all entails, but that's just a little slice of it. Go ahead. So I've been creating the necessary policies and documents on the website, such as the ones listed here, to get it up and running. And these are the foundation to a smooth running website, allowing for understanding of the process for online registration and payments and more. So feel free to check these links out and let me know if you have any questions. I've also been working on a web design, creating materials and policies for hiring instructors as independent contractors. And then this is for the survey that I completed. So it's important to build a program on a foundation that serves the needs and addresses gaps in a community. So I ran a community interest survey to gauge what our community's interests look like for lifelong learning opportunities. And this slide just shows the various class offering categories that I listed in that survey. So it received 160 responses. This graph just shows the age ranges for the respondents of the survey. Highest was 35 to 44-year-olds, then 55 to 64, and then 45 to 54. And this shows that there's a wide age range of community members that are interested in taking community ed classes. I also found that 67% of respondents were not Tomahawk alumni, which I found pretty interesting. So 33% were. Go ahead, next. And then the highest category of interest was fitness and sports. Second was leisure activities and hobbies, so like photography, things like that. Then arts and crafts, then outdoor rec and safety, and then aquatics and pool use. So the other categories also showed interest. I just didn't put those in there. And I'll use this data to prioritize class offerings, but it's not going to rule out other options, including ones that I didn't list specifically in the survey and like ideas that came forth from just general feedback. And then I'm not reading this off, additional input from community members from the survey. So requested topics or ones that people said I'm willing to teach this that I didn't list specifically. You don't have to go reading all that, it's a lot. And then I've received interest from probably over 30, 35, oh, never mind, sorry, we're on the right side, you're good. 30 possible instructors for the program so far. New inquiries coming in occasionally yet. I just received 2 more this week. Some class ideas from possible instructors so far are included on the side here, and some of those are, a lot of other ones that people reached out to me about were ones that I did list on the survey too. So.
Would instructors be compensated?
Yes, I'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, no, you're good. So community ed program, a goal is to work with the local organizations, businesses, and key players, not against them. So for example, like a local gym or a yoga instructor, they're welcome to come teach a class through the program. I would handle registration, marketing, promotion for the class, get the name out there, and then they would gain new clientele and still get paid. So it would enhance the community connections and maybe even draw people in to join their gym or their yoga studio if they like their class. So it's inviting collaboration and not competition. So to get to the hiring process, potential instructors are first going to fill out a class proposal form. It's either a Google form or a printed PDF form, and they can either mail it in or drop it off at the school if they do that form. You can check out those links after the meeting if you'd like. And then if I think someone's class proposal might be a good fit for the program, I will schedule a preliminary interview with them to discuss class details, go over the instructor handbook. This is an outline of what the instructor handbook entails, including professionality expectations and all other policies, including like a liability waiver as well and other policies. It would take up too much time for me to show you the entire handbook, so it is linked there to see a draft of it. It is a draft, so I will warn you. I'm getting there, I'm getting it polished up in the next few weeks here. But it will be available on the school website and the community ed program website as well when it's finalized. And if I think a potential instructor would be a good fit, I would right away give them the W-9 and criminal background check form to complete. And then the last step for the hiring process would be finishing up paperwork and then finalizing those details for class costs and instructor pay, materials and other instructor needs. And they would sign and date the instructor handbook agreement and receive a copy for themselves to refer to. So once the hiring process is complete, I can set up the class behind the scenes, work on advertising programs for open registration. All right, this is very wordy, so don't feel like you need to read through all that. But I am proposing, this is my kind of class proposal pay form. So it would be an 80-20 pay pricing structure to start. Instructors would make 80% of the program costs. Community ed would make 20% of the program costs. And they would, community ed also pays for the materials cost to be built into the program price per registrant. So we would just cover that cost up front, and then the money that we would earn from the registrants would go right back to the account. So this seems to be a good starting point for our school, being that the goal of the program is to cover costs and not necessarily make a bunch of money. So I did research on the pay pricing structures used by other school district community ed programs throughout Wisconsin. That's kind of what I base this off of. A lot of them are 80-20. Some strive for 70-30%, and some are even higher at 57-43%. So community ed makes 43%. I think that's a little too high. So I would determine a fair price per person for the class that I feel is, fair, and then including materials and instructor pay. So this ratio can always be adjusted later on if needed. And there would also be a set hourly rate for some programs, like drop-in punch cards, and school district of Tomahawk staff would need to be paid an hourly rate as well.
So it's important to note too, and we had discussed this, that portion of it will come to the board for approval before we implement the
that's why it's a
program.
proposal, and I don't quite know how that works, but
So we won't be doing that tonight, but when we get to that point, that would be a board.
Is this gonna be set up as a separate fund? Or put into one of the other school funds?
It will go into 80, so everything will be in and out for 80, for fund 80.
Okay.
This is an example. I'm not going to go through it here, but it's just for a theoretical intermediate canvas painting class. But yeah, go over that. Let me know if you have any questions about it too. It's in the agenda. So, all right, and then it would just be the invoicing process. So sending registration numbers to instructor in advance. I would do that for their planning purposes. And then once I close the class registration, and then they would take account on attendance and pass that along to me. Once program's complete, they would invoice the school for the agreed upon fee rate per registrant that paid for the program. So after I approve the invoice, we would send the instructor a check. So they're acting as an independent contractor. And then this is just a sample invoice of what I would give to, you know, an independent contractor instructor for if they didn't know how to properly invoice us. And I'm not gonna read all this, but my outline here is for how community ed classes will be scheduled throughout the year. I'm working on offering some classes this summer if we can, going around the needs of summer maintenance. And then I'll also be working this summer on scheduling programs for the fall. So with registration to open up for those classes in late August. So fall classes would run from September through December. I also listed my plan for scheduling winter and spring classes, and this outline will be used annually for scheduling classes consistently. And I've been learning more about implementing a community volunteer STEP program, and I've been in contact with a few other local schools, Wisconsin, who have implemented successful volunteer programs. Goal would be to get community members more involved with the school in areas that are needed by teachers and staff. And I plan to gauge interest from our teachers and staff to see what needs might look like for this type of program. So I'll be working on this summer as well. And then, like Wendell said, eventually we'll need to discuss community ed program budget to sustain the needs of this program. Advertising is a huge part of running a successful program, so getting the word out is so our community knows about upcoming classes is huge. I met with the Tomahawk leader, and they gave us a generous quote that similarly resembles the school district of Rhinelander's package for the Star Journal for their community ed program. And I'll track expenses and income for the program and hope to grow it into a successful and sustainable program. And that's all I have. I don't know if that was 10 minutes, but I tried.
Pretty darn
yeah.
close, good job.
Okay, thanks. Any questions? Yeah.
How will the classes be monitored to make sure that, let's say I'm paying $25,
Yeah.
that I'm getting something out of this class, that I don't have a class put out there that's not meeting my needs, which I expected?
Are you saying like
Evaluation of the
I
program.
totally didn't add that into here for time's sake, but I have a whole evaluation form. It's a Google form.
Okay.
And I'll have paper forms as well if somebody needs to request that, but that'll help me gauge continual feedback on if the program's going well. And I'll also be doing program audits occasionally, and I'll sit in on classes and check them out.
Excellent.
Especially if I start to hear feedback on if somebody's, you know, not doing great.
And you evaluate instructors
Yep.
as well. So
Yeah, that's what the audit's
yeah.
for, yep. So I can determine if it's a good fit or not, or, yeah.
Are these classes gonna take place before school and after school possibly?
I would
How
say
does
that-
that work?
Yeah, it depends, on the needs of the school first. So it's school first, and then, you know, community ed is second. So it depends on our needs for, clubs and teams and all that too. I anticipate most of it will be after school, probably to start. But I do see a large request from the public on needing more before school programming for like our youth. A lot of this is gonna start being geared towards adults, but then eventually we'll get into doing more youth stuff too. I think Rhinelander sticks to doing all adult classes, but I really see a need for like those types of things before school, especially for youth. So middle school age specifically is what people are asking for. Yeah.
Who determines what the size of the class is going to be?
I think that we would kind of work together. So there is a collaborative piece of it too. You know, it's not, everything's not controlled by me. So I think determining, like, okay, maybe 25 is a good cap, or maybe this classroom can only fit that many. So that would be a good place to start, depending on the facility, if it's gonna be multiple instructors, how many people they can keep an eye on. All those types of things will come into consideration, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for, like classes, I would say we would decide together what's a good minimum and a maximum number. So not just the max, but okay, if we only got 3 people registered, we'll probably not do it right now. We'll probably wait, so, yeah.
Okay.
Wendell, how is the district looking at, Fund 80 has, for an example, middle school athletic activities, if I remember it correctly.
Yep.
Have you thought about guaranteeing a percentage that this will never exceed of the Fund 80 dollars? I mean, it's so new today, I'm not worried about that today.
Yeah.
But, you know, in 3 years, let's assume it's just blossoming and really going, because the Fund 80 dollars are tax dollars. You know, are we thinking that this programming would never exceed 40% of the Fund 80 dollars to guarantee, my point is to guarantee that our school students, you know, are not deprived of any activity
Right.
at all? Have we looked into that yet?
So that's, to put a finite percent on it, I think it's like any other budgetary item that we would have. The school needs come first. We try to make sure that, you know, what we ask for in Fund 80 is gonna cover the things that we need. So there's also some revenue generated through Fund 80. Well, not total revenue, but there's some fees that come back into Fund 80 that you'll see on in the expense report. But you know, I don't know that it's a written guarantee or a written plan. It's budgeted out, and then you monitor what's in your Fund 80 so that doesn't occur.
I guess you answered my question the way I should have asked a question. We're certainly considering monitoring the program so that at no point in time will it impact, for an example, our middle school program, our
That
middle
makes
school
sense.
sports program, for
That
an
makes
example.
sense.
Exactly, right.
Okay.
And that's where I think we have to monitor 80-20. Is 80-20 gonna be a feasible model for us moving forward, or are we losing money and having to bring more in out of Fund 80? But we should be covering the majority of our costs for each class through the fees that we charge for the class.
Obviously, you could raise the price of the cost of the program to cover the debt, to make sure that deficit doesn't happen. But I just think it's important to think about that
Yeah.
today, so that at some point in time it might become, let's hope it becomes important.
Yeah.
Good.
That's a fair point.
Any other questions for Darren?
Thank you, that's a hell of a
it's,
presentation. young
uh,
lady.
Yes, thank you guys
Wow.
for listening.
I'm looking
I
forward,
appreciate it.
Yeah,
looking
I
forward
am
to
too.
seeing this get kicked off.
Well,
I think it's gonna
really
be a big
excited.
help.
The building is, it's getting there, but I'm ready to, yeah.
Well, you're doing
Well,
well, young lady.
I just think it's important to get the community in
In this building, I
Yeah.
agree, that's
Yeah,
what I want.
definitely.
I agree.
Thank you
Oh,
guys.
Okay, thank you.
for your help.
Okay, next item's the finance report.
Can we have, I have some questions.
Oh, I'm
This
sorry,
is
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
For the high school, senior service project, what is it?
So there's a variety of things that they're finalizing, but I know that it involves the city with several projects of the city department.
Okay.
I know they're gonna be doing a tremendous amount of work at the fire department this year. And I think it's arranging cleaning and things like that, but it's also with some items that the fire department, I think, plans to donate, if I remember correctly, so helping and facilitating that piece. I know there's some miscellaneous going on between the veterans groups and different things with the cemeteries. And I'm missing the fourth piece, Milestone, thank you, yeah, fun and games and things like that at Milestone, something that worked. So I know that they're pretty close to finalizing their projects, but it should be another great year.
Okay, and for the celebration walk, do you have a time for that? Can we attend?
So, yes, I mean,
Okay,
it's gonna
good.
be approximately 9:40.
9:40?
Somewhere right in that neighborhood, but what I was also gonna mention was, I'll send out, probably in the next couple of days, send out to the board, graduation information if you'd like to view, the seating arrangements, diploma, distribution, things like that, so you should get that specific info from me, I would think in the next couple of days.
Okay.
You should have that part of the ceremony worked out well.
I just want to make a comment too. The activities director report was just phenomenal. Very nice report to see all it's insane, all the stuff that's going on and the wonderful things our students are doing outside of the classroom.
The positive scope of it,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, just awesome.
Anything else then?
I also wanted to comment on the planning for the new teacher onboarding. Really nice that you're looking at, okay, you have experience or you have this and that, and it's not just everybody does the same exact thing. So that's really neat. I like that, Mark. Thank you. I think that's it.
Okay. Anyone else? I'm sorry I missed that, I just blanked over it. Any other questions for any of the staff? Okay, then we're at the finance report, and Wendell, I guess you're gonna give us a.
I will, and typically, we present the finance report in the Finance and Operations Committee meeting. We were unable to have one this month, so I'm just gonna briefly highlight some of the high points of this, and then I'll field any questions that you might have. So This is attached. There are also, I believe, hard copies in the back there too. So looking at just the revenue starting off, so if you look at the bullet points on page 2 at the top, well, it might be different on there, the formatting might have changed, but the bullet points, so $440,990 in equalized aid was received. Now that's a one-time payment that we get. And I always like to point out equalized aid comes from the state, but it is not spendable dollars for districts. That is not money that comes into our coffers that we can turn around and spend. It basically is money that's accounted for on our revenue limit worksheet. So essentially it's tax relief for our tax levy. So that amount comes right off the main tax levy for the state. So it's not additional revenue for us, but it shows up in the revenue portion of our finance report. You can see the dump of our local tax dollars came in that's the January and February payments that were put into the account. There's still April and then a final payment in August to come, but that portion shows up in the quarter 3 report. And then quarter 3 interest for Fund 10, which I believe we're just over 5%. On our money was $69,596.61. So again, one of our biggest revenue generators is our fund balance and the amount of money that we keep in the bank. Sandy has kept that money in the local government investment pool for a number of years. We've had companies reach out to us and we've sat down and listened to them. A lot of schools will actually invest their money into certain really secure investment opportunities that you can utilize that are guaranteed, but the actual return on that over the past few years has been nowhere near what the local government investment pool can offer us, and we have the money is at our disposal, so we can pull that in and out as we see fit. So to liquidate your funds is a really simple process with that, where other things you'd have to make a commitment for 6 months or 3 months, or it would take you time to pull money in if you needed to. And then the last one is the per pupil. That's a single annual payment, $842,170, so that arrived in quarter 3 as well. Jumping down the list a little bit, looking at Fund 40 projects. Again, talk about interest. We keep our Fund 46 money in that same government investment pool, and you can see the amount of interest that has. Now that's a year-to-date number, not a quarter 3. Track that one a little differently, but still $46,860.89 came just basically by having our money in the bank. At the bottom, you'll see at the end of the third quarter where we're at. We're about just over almost $260,000 more in revenue in 22 than we were in 22-23 at the same time. Again, that's sometimes just the timing of things. It doesn't mean a whole lot. Jumping over to the expenditure side, we'll see that Fund 27, and I highlighted this on my sheet to talk to you about because this is a great example of what we were talking about earlier. Currently, we're at 30% reimbursement, or right around 30%. I think it went up a little bit with this last biennial budget, but we had year-to-date expenses of just over $1.9 million. If you look at what 30% of that roughly would be compared to 60% is nearly $1.1 million. We would be ahead, that we wouldn't have to pull out of our Fund 10 or our general fund to cover some of these expenses. So it would go up, basically around $600,000, just under $600,000 with that. For us in our district, we would benefit from that if they would increase that reimbursement. So I think when you talk about things that would have the highest benefit for us, obviously the low revenue ceiling helps us, but it also increases our local taxes, right? That's not money that's given to us by the state. That's just authority to tax for more money. And this year we under levied and we did not, take our full taxing authority. And we'll always try to do that, especially as we pass referendums, to be as financially responsible as we can to our community. But something like this is actual dollars saved by our district or coming back to our district that doesn't cost the taxpayers money. It saves them a ton of money. So this is one that for me, I'll be as vocal as I can because I think it would have a huge impact overall on our district. You know, and then looking at the bottom, we're right around where our expenditures were a year ago at this time. Couple of additions that we've added to this report, and we continue to try to make this as useful as possible, is we add the capital project list to the financial quarterly report, which means as we approve the quarterly report, we're also approving an updated capital project list. And how that would work is if we would ever put anything on here, one, typically it would go through the committee first, but we have one addition on here tonight. You can see it highlighted pink on page, I believe it would be on page 6 for you. And that's an addition to add 10 more door controllers, readers, and hardware. And ultimately, this is in preparation. One, it's something that our coaches have always asked for, is to have easier access to the areas of the building that they need. So to be able to get down these hallways, we like to get away from giving hard keys, because hard keys, when they're not returned, end up in lots of money and changing core locks. So we like to use our card readers, and while it's expensive, it still is a lot cheaper than changing all the door locks on the interior. So so we had 10 more controllers. The estimated cost of that is around probably $30,000. Again, this is something that we would look at utilizing Fund 46 funds, but it's also an anticipation of community ed. So when we have somebody that signs up to be an instructor for a class, one of the hard things that we have right now is people try to utilize our facilities is making sure that doors, that nothing's missed. They might get the area that they want unlocked, and somebody might come through and lock one of these doors, and they can't get to that area, or lock an exterior door, or they can get in the exterior door, but they can't get around the building. So to have the door readers and the different things in place, when somebody's an instructor and they have it, we can give them a pre-programmed card. They can get through the door locks, and we can control that access. And if we don't get the card back, we shut the card off. It's that simple. So that's the addition to the 46 list. If that's something that there's concerns tonight about approving to be on this list, we can always make an adjustment and just approve the financial report, but hold off on approving the Fund 46 list.
Wendell, will that the 10 door controls, will that include the locker rooms?
I'm not sure if it would or not.
I was asked by a couple of coaches. That was a big one for them.
Yeah, I'll check. I've got it. Actually, we can look afterwards. I've got a map with it highlighted on there. Then after this, after that portion, I've listed in here the upcoming and completed projects. And a lot of this is recent projects that were completed off the Fund 46 list, and the ones that are due to be completed this summer. So I won't go through these in detail, but you can see the summer of 2024 is listed on here, and there's in total, there's about 10 projects that are going to take place. So some big ones. A lot of it's building maintenance. So windows and exterior, we did this high school side and middle school side last year. We're going to do the elementary side this coming spring and summer. There's some tuck pointing that needs to occur on the brickwork outside of the elementary, where that's falling apart and deteriorating. Water's getting behind there and making the problem worse. So we're going to have somebody come in and tuck point that. He's got the quote, and that's scheduled to be there. There's some flooring projects. We're trying really hard to get away from flooring that needs to be waxed. So over time, the goal is to get rid of those, what they refer to as asbestos tile, even though they don't all have asbestos in them, right? So, but that all needs to be waxed, and that's a huge summer project. So there's a lot of things our custodians could be doing during that time when they're waxing floors and shutting parts of the building down. So the goal is to over time tackle those pieces. So that's listed there on what's upcoming. And then there's some HVAC and then just some general maintenance. It's important to note this is on the Fund 46 list, but under general maintenance, the high school dishwasher is actually covered under our food service fund, Fund 50, and that fund balance there. On the last page, it shows you 5.4% is what the government investment pool has been at for Q3. So pretty good return on what we have invested there.
So we'll be able to, if I get one of these cars, access a specific part of the building and only a specific part of the building.
Yeah, so we can create groups that would have access to certain doors. So we could, if we had a person dedicated to it, could give you a card and just give you certain access. But the way we are staff-wise, it's easier for us to create groups. So if you're an instructor for community ed, it's going to get you in this group that opens all of these doors. So you'll have access to things you don't really even need access to, but obviously that's something that would be monitored if somebody was going in.
I'm just looking like Dave, as a coach coming in, access to an outside door, locker room,
Yeah.
the things I need to fulfill my obligation. And if that's what I'm allowed to do, and it's gonna keep me away from other parts where I don't belong, stuck on my nose, I'm in favor of that.
Yep, and we've expanded the coaching. We used to, like even upwards close to a year ago maybe, we had head coaching group, assistant coaching group, and all these things. And what we try to do is combine it. If you're a coach, it doesn't matter where you're at. Head coach might want to send you down, take a group of kids and go to the high school gym that night. They shouldn't have to fumble around with the right set of keys. So if you're a coach, you have access to all these things.
Okay.
And we trust you. You know, if we trust you to work with our kids, we should trust you to have access to them.
I agree.
So.
Wow.
Well, not that I wanna add anything to yours or Arlen's plates necessarily, but I think it would be useful information to have, you know, once we do the tuck pointing, the window replacement, things like that, hopefully to see some kind of a report or maybe comparison on energy savings, because that's obviously a huge investment in energy savings for the building when we're not having, you know, hot air bleeding out through walls that don't have insulation, you know, things like that. So this winter probably wouldn't have been a bad example, I suppose, because it wasn't that cold, but you know, as we go forward, I think that's important to be able to show the community that we're investing in this and we're saving the community money by investing in this.
Yeah, for sure.
Would there be any way to incorporate in one of the classrooms, one of the science classrooms, if We Energy has programs that go for that stuff, that they can do the checking of that?
Possibly could do that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, then entertain a motion to approve the finance report along with the updated capital project list.
Hughes so move.
Second? Motion is second to approve the finance report and updated capital project list. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, 12. Description of a Raise Your Voice student organization.
Okay, so I did attach what I received from Wendy. Cassie Cerny is currently the advisor for Raise Your Voice Club, and I'm gonna turn it over to her. She's had a lot of it's been pretty exciting to see the number of participants and the excitement some of the kids have had around this, and I'm gonna let her explain her vision for the program and what it's all about and how it's gonna positively impact our kids.
So thank you guys for having me. So Raise Your Voice is a club that we are starting in Tomahawk. It is part of a larger Wisconsin program that they're starting in all sorts of different schools. So we're part of the Northwoods community that's doing it. I want to say our closest other schools that are part of it is Anago, Marathon, and Merrill are our closest homes. But what it is it's a club where kids can learn how to recognize signs for students who are struggling and help point them in the right direction for resources, like get them to their school counselor or to talk to their parents about certain situations. It's not a therapy group by any means. We're not providing therapy. We're not diagnosing kids. It's a space to be a safe place for kids to be able to talk about these things and to help break down the stigma of mental health. So we take part in the YRBS survey, the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, and we can see that students their mental health is struggling at a much larger rate than it used to be. And that is, Wisconsin is is higher in those statistics than other states. So that's one reason why Governor Evers is pushing forward with this program. He brought Merrill down to them for the state address, and he talked such high levels to this program. And so what we're doing here in Tomahawk is it's for middle school and high school students. Since I'm a middle school counselor, I felt like it was most important that we opened it up to our middle school students because that's where I have the connection with my kids, and then also to the high school students because most clubs in the state are high school and junior high clubs. So what happened is I started with an informational table so that kids could sign up if they're interested in it. We had 51 students sign up, 14 of those kids being high school students, the rest being middle school students. So there's definitely a draw for these kids to have a place to talk and just help support each other. And then we just had our first meeting on the 7th, where we talked about where we want the club to go, what we kind of see things happening, why it's such a great thing to be able to support each other and just show that we just want to break down barriers and have conversations that are open and are supportive, rather than calling people crazy and making them feel like they need to isolate themselves when they're having different issues happening in their lives. And we know a lot of our youth are struggling. So we have a couple projects that we're in the mix of right now. The first one was a huge donation was done by Heritage Chevrolet, and they gave us $500 for the club to help with our color run. And so one of our stations in the color run is going to be green, because green is the mental health awareness color. And so they helped do that. So our club created a thank you to send with them that we still have to deliver. But I was hoping for social media purposes to get a picture of kids holding that and showing the bags. Because they also packed goodie bags for all of the kids that are in the color run, as well as all of the elementary students and high school students will be getting mental health awareness swag bags that just have like a NAMI card in it. NAMI is the National Association for Mental Illness, and that's one group that associates themselves with Raise Your Voice. And so there's a card in there for NAMI. There's Raise Your Voice stickers that our tech ed department made. There's some green beads. There's support mental health awareness bracelets, different little like fidgets, things like that, to go out and just kind of share that we're here and we see that there's concerns and we want to support each other as much as we can. So they've been packing bags constantly. We'll deliver those in the next couple weeks. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so we felt like it was quite appropriate to be passing those out. We were hoping that that high school and elementary was going to join us for the color run. It just didn't work out, but so that's why we wanted to still extend those bags to them as well, because that was part of our plan in the grand scheme of things when we were originally planning the color run. So the color run is what we've partnered with the student council to just raise awareness to kids, like get them excited about being part of student council and leadership opportunities, but then also to get them to have some awareness to mental health awareness and to the Raise Your Voice Club in a way to promote it. I've reached out to the students that are part of the club to just kind of get a pulse on where they're feeling. Now that we've had the first meeting, if they feel like it's still something they want to continue into next year. We've got only 3 kids that have said, nope, this is enough. I'm glad that we were part of it this year, but the rest of the students want to participate again next year. So I think that speaks volumes to what the school is asking, what the students are asking for. And then I just had them kind of gauge what they thought our best projects were that we were working on. Was it the thank you to Heritage? Was it the color run, or was it the swag bags? And most of them are very excited for the color run. In fact, many of them want to, if they can, help with making sure it's successful. So that's really exciting. And then ideas for next year, where they want to go next year. And they've got some great ideas. They would love to see the color run expanded to the community project, to where it's a weekend run. They would love to see, one of the suggestions was to build a free library with just mental health and self-help kind of books in there. Goodness, now that I'm on the spot, I can't remember any of their other great ideas, but they had a lot. And it was really neat to see them, they would love to see our kids get trained in youth mental health first aid. And so that's actually something that I am going to be trained in this summer, is to be a trainer in that. And so they would love to see that kind of come into the students. A lot of the larger districts at our meetings, they are, they'll take like the volleyball team or the football team, and they'll set them through this training just to kind of help support each other and spread the word that way. And so that's something that the kids are really excited about. They're starting like a mental health day where we bring in different speakers and do different activities, just to really create this bond and support, rather than it being such a stigmatized conversation. So. Yeah, we're very excited for the club and very excited for the opportunity and support from you guys.
When do you meet?
The funding for it came from, also we got the Spirus Community Foundation gives us the funding for it, as well for the stipend for that, and then also a small, like, what do you call it? The budget, what do you call this? Activity fund. Couldn't think of the word, but so when we were first exploring it, we've been looking at it for about a year. Cassie came on board, she was really excited about it. We sent some student leaders, that the high school counselors helped us find some student leaders. We sent them to Wausau for their bigger event there so they could learn more about the club. And they came back to see if it was something that fit the needs that kids were looking for here. And from the number of kids we got signed up, they're pretty excited. There's a summit this summer that some of them are considering attending, so it's just a need that we're seeing with kids, just to, like Cassie said, it's not like counseling or any like agenda or anything. It's here's resources, here's some places to talk to, and teach them how to talk to each other and how to get
just an open dialogue, right? Like, I see you struggling, we'll help you find some help.
When do you typically meet?
We're following the schedule like other clubs, so once a month we're meeting.
What time of the day?
During their resource or team
Okay.
period, so it's just like all other clubs.
Well, that was my concern, because if it's at that particular time, someone has got to take a bus, can't stay, whatever,
Right.
they can be included.
Yes, we wanted to make sure it was within the school hours so that transportation wasn't a barrier.
Okay, thank you.
You do provide any services over the summertime, or?
Currently, we will not be, but like Ms. Namona said, we have the summit that's happening in the summer. So, students who are interested in being leaders, in the advisory, they're welcome to come with me, and I'll work with transportation and stuff, and it's down in Point, and so all the clubs will go there, and there's a big summit where they, kind of work on problem solving and planning for the year to come. And then there's another one in October, so if kids can't attend that August date, they can attend the October date then instead. But that's about as much as this like extended club as there'll be during the summer.
Does this program have a relationship with Link and Web?
You know, it doesn't, but I'm a web leader too now, so.
So it does, it does.
And you know, and it's all about belonging and building a great community
Right.
that supports each other, so I think they kind of go hand in hand, which is another reason why I felt like web was a really great fit for myself too.
You don't see it as a duplication, you see it as a add-on or a supplement or whatever the word is.
Yep, I would say web is more about making sure our younger kids feel included and getting those leaders building, whereas Raise Your Voice is about building mental health awareness.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
I have to mention that somebody suggested mental health first aid as one of the community ed
I saw
classes.
that as well.
Yeah, so awesome, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm ready. Good. Ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, then entertain a motion to approve the Raise Your Voice Student Organization.
I so move, Scuba.
Second?
Second, Baloo.
Okay, motion is second to approve the Raise Your Voice Student Organization. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is to approve the food service contract. And Wendell, you're gonna present?
Just a couple things to highlight. Again, this is attached for you. What I'm reading off of right now is the which attachment?
Yeah, you can
one?
follow.
I believe it's
That's
the
my cheat sheet.
proposed budget, the second attachment that's there. So looking at this, there's a couple of things. So this, in the first paragraph, as you look at it, was prepared without SCA monies, which is the supply chain assistance funds that were given out by the federal government during the COVID era to combat the high price surge for a lot of the food that we order and that sort of thing. So that led our district to having the fund balance that we have currently, because also we were able to disperse a lot of that food and get kids to take it and that sort of thing too. And if you remember the free lunches that kids had and all that has ended. So SCA money is no longer available to us. So this next year's budget does not contain that. which also is why you'll see as I go through that this budget actually comes out in a deficit for us, which typically our food service budget does not. But let me explain that a little bit. So we were able to work with them to maintain costs per meal for the last, I think, 7 or 8 years. Maybe that's a little stretch. I think at least back to 2019, we have not raised our student cost for meals. Even though the food costs have gone up quite a bit, it's $2.75 per elementary lunch, $3 per middle and high school, and then you can see the cost there for breakfast. All of our, whether you're free or reduced, are all free in our district for breakfast as well. Looking at this as we worked with Taher, they are planning to give a 3% wage increase to their food service staff, which is still below CPI and a fair number. Ultimately, and then they'll also increase their admissions fee on some of the food that comes in by 3% as well. So a pretty standard contract that we typically see. Ultimately, it comes down to a projected loss for our district of $7,224.93, which is a planned projected deficit where we are going to cover that cost with our food service fund. We're only allowed to keep so much by DPI in food service, and we exceeded that, so we need to spend it now, and we feel this is a good way to do it, so we can still keep costs consistent for our families.
Good.
And this includes like the people who don't pay the cost, don't lose the cost, no?
No, that ends up being a write-off for the district at some point, where you just have to write that debt off, or find ways creatively, as you guys have heard, that there's a community member that's taken it upon herself to start a GoFundMe. There's been a donation that we just received yesterday from Harley Davidson. So they, from the employees at Harley Davidson, they do fundraisers periodically. They raffled off some parking spots and gave us $433 roughly from that raffle to cover overdue costs. We also have people that stop in periodically and say, I would like to cover, somebody's lunch bill or outstanding lunch bill, or we've had veterans stop in and dedicate it and say, I want this to go to, be dispersed with families that are, our veterans and that sort of thing. So, but the Taher contract does not cover in any way the people that don't pay.
Have there been commodity charges in the past contract? I just noticed it today for the first time of 9,000.
Yeah, yep, and that goes along with that 3%, I think.
Okay.
So that's just the processing on their end.
Any other questions? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the food service contract for 24-25.
So moved, Krish. Second.
Motion is second to approve the food service contract for 24-25. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, 14, approve the second reading of the following policies. Does the policy committee have any?
No, this is just a standard that has to come back for a second reading. We had the first reading last month, so we're just following protocol with the second reading.
Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the second reading of policies 6611 and 8120 and revisions to the other policies.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second?
USB, second.
Okay, a motion is second to approve the policies, second reading of the policies. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Boy, that did take up the whole thing. All right, 16, approve the early graduation list for January 20th.
We have
15 yet.
We have revised.
Did I miss one?
Yeah.
More policies.
More policies.
So you have the second reading, and then we've got
Oh, I'm
revisions.
sorry.
Revisions.
I'm sorry. Okay, approve the revision of the following policies. Okay. Any questions? Sorry about that. Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to approve the revisions of the policies listed.
Swente, so moved.
Thank you. Second?
Baloo, second.
Okay, a motion is second to approve the revisions to the listed policies. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Am I out of the policies now?
Yes,
Yeah.
made it.
You know how I feel.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Approval of the early graduation list for January 2025. Anything you need to add?
No, the list is supplied there and it is.
I move that we approve the early graduation list for January 25.
Okay, second?
Second, Swente.
Motion is second to approve the early graduation list for January 2025. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. What's next? Approve the list of 2024 graduation candidates based on completion of Wisconsin Tomahawk. I don't know.
So moved, Kirsch.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion is second to approve the list of 2024 graduation candidates. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. All right, 18 I'm at, right? Okay, reorganization of the board. So first is the, obviously, election of officers, so I'd entertain nominations for president of the board.
I nominate Ron Zimmerman.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Don't be afraid to speak. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do we have to vote on each one?
Do you accept the
You don't have to
nomination?
vote,
Oh,
unless there's more than one.
oh, that's right. Thank you. Okay, yes, I'll accept it. Thank you. Thank you.
Your enthusiasm is.
Exactly.
You just got back from vacation.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to do a unanimous vote for Ron Zimmerman.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, vice president. Entertain nominations for vice president.
Do we want to vote on that motion?
Oh, okay. I thought we didn't have to.
There is no motion.
Well,
We don't need.
if
Yeah, don't need a
unanimous,
motion.
No, but
okay.
Okay, vice president. Nominations for vice president.
I nominate Kenny.
Anyone else? Any other nominations? You gonna do it?
if you behave.
Do you need, so I need a second. You
I'll
need a big-
second.
That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, clerk, enter nominations for clerk position.
I'll nominate Deb Ballou. She keeps it.
Any other nominations? Deb, you okay?
I accept.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer, nominations for treasurer.
I nominate Dave.
Second,
Second.
any other nominations? Okay, you're it, Dave. Thank you. All right, thanks a lot. Okay. Appoint the WASB delegate. We have to
You can take a volunteer on that one.
volunteer.
Or you can,
Don't you like that?
the
You like that, don't you?
WASB delegate.
Was
It was Deb and then it went to
Ron did it last year.
Yeah, I did.
Honestly, we can probably hold off until closer to January to make sure the delegate is actually able to go to EdCon this year. I don't know that we have to. Do we? Okay,
Yeah.
we can we can nominate somebody, and if we have to change it, we will.
Makes sense.
So,
I nominate Ann.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. You're not
Do you
doing
second that
I
nomination?
second that.
Alright.
Sorry, Ron, you did a good enough job.
He did
It had
it.
nothing to do with that.
She made it sound a lot worse than what it really was.
she went through the bad.
Yeah, she went through the bad year. I just didn't know what she complaining about. It is pretty interesting.
I thought you did a good job, though, Ron.
You weren't there, you don't. No, you'd be good. I think. And you accept it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I think we're Oh, we're still at.
CISA.
Appoint CISA Board of Control Representative. Who did it before? Deb?
Deb,
I've been doing it,
Okay.
I've done it for a while.
and I'm happy to continue.
Okay.
she keeps us up.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Deb, do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. And I
Okay.
have someone from CISA 9 that's gonna help with our referendum.
Okay, good, good. Okay, date for summer school board work session. Summer school board.
So I can tell you, we'll go through the details of some of the things that I wanna throw out to you that I think we should utilize that day for. Right now, I'm thinking it's gonna be, it probably would be about a 4-hour, at least a half-day work session. Considering the referendum planning and other things that we probably should talk about during that time and use it for. So could probably stretch it into 3/4 of a day pretty easily. So I don't know, in the past, we've done a full day just as a board together. We've also taken a few hours and done it prior to the June meeting or the July meeting, whichever. But it's up to you. I don't know what everybody's schedule looks like and that sort of thing. I think your days free are more on Fridays, correct? So, you know, I guess I want to throw that out there for the board to discuss when you want to do it.
My thought process, I'd like to keep it separate from the board meeting.
Yes.
Definitely.
And have a separate day dedicated to just that.
Not the same day as the board meeting.
Right, not the same day as the board meeting, but so we don't feel that.
You don't have to rush through something to try and
Yeah, so we got time, and if Friday's fine with me, if that
Okay.
works for Lonnie, I don't care, whatever everybody else.
I'm free any day, as in why, Lonnie?
Do we have to have a clean?
Well, what works for you?
How do those days look for you?
It's gonna depend on what Friday it is. Normally the day I have to be in the office, but depending on which Friday we're looking at, I have one gal that is pretty flexible as far as swapping days, so.
The other thing is,
And what
I
about
mean,
Dave?
we don't have to look at a day. If you guys would prefer to do an elongated evening, afternoon, late afternoon, if that works and everybody's schedule's better, I can be flexible on when I'm there, that's for sure, so.
I just have to know ahead of time
Yeah.
to see if I want, it's hard to say.
I would just, like I said, I'd just like to keep it separate from everything else so we can concentrate on just these issues. If
But
we
between
can.
Shaw and Lonnie, let them kind of work out a day.
I'm very flexible, aside from a couple of summer vacations.
Okay.
Any Friday would work for you, Lonnie?
All Fridays.
I'm checking.
Like to do it in June, yeah.
So June 21st would
I'm
work
gone.
for me, or June 7th.
I'm not available the 21st of June.
Neither
Or what was the other date, Sharon?
June 7th.
June 7th, does that work?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, I think June 7th.
Okay, so tentatively scheduled for June
Available on,
7th.
seventh.
June
not
7th.
available on the 7th.
You're not available on the
I
17th?
am not either.
Okay.
Okay.
But evening then.
So what it's like trying to schedule.
I was just gonna say,
Do
It's the
those
same
separate.
thing.
my wife wants me out of the house, you guys want you to go back.
So
You
here's what we
wanna
can,
do it in the evening?
Do the evening include a supper?
Yeah, include.
we can do that.
What,
Start with the second.
We've done that in the past.
what time would you be available
When?
After work.
after work?
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I can pretty much get out of there when I need to, as long as I know in advance. So
What
if
about
I need
Fri-
to
what
get
about-
off at 2:00, I can. Fridays are the days that that's my office day.
Yeah,
That's-
but when are you out of the office?
How late do you work?
On Fridays?
Yeah.
5:00.
5.
5
What if
o'clock?
we stay on a Tuesday, 5:30, like we do for board meetings?
Is Chef and Phil coming on the 4th? That's a Tuesday.
I have not heard
Okay.
anything. They have not communicated with me.
Dick, are you not available?
I think you guys all set that up. I thought he was coming. But
Dick,
they haven't reached out.
He
Are you
said
available
he
at all on
already
the
had
7th,
sent
if we did it in the evening?
No.
I'm available
Check with Sandy.
at any time of the
But
day.
that
And what's the
Tuesday-
date?
June 7th. You said you
No,
were
I have my
available.
grandson's graduation party. I better not
Okay.
miss that.
Okay.
That makes sense.
What time is Lonnie? Lonnie, how late do you work till?
Till 5,
Till 5?
Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays I have off.
Okay.
What if we did it at 5:30 during the week sometime?
Works for me.
It works. Okay.
Works for everybody?
Yeah, let's try that.
We'll send
Let's
out,
try it.
we'll send out a
Yeah.
bunch of dates and try to
If it
try to
doesn't
narrow
work,
it
it'll be-
down to one.
Yeah, we'll get his work down to one day. We'll do it after work. After you get off work. Wow.
Hang in, you in charge. Oh, Dave, too.
Okay, does that work out then?
If I know in advance on those Fridays, but I just know that one gal is flexible and the other one is not. So her Fridays are.
We
Set
can
in
squeeze it into an evening, and if we need to, we can do
Schedule
another
separate.
evening. And so there's,
Yeah.
just basically, I wanna have somebody from Donovan Group come and work with us on pulling together a communication strategy, and then also, there's some the district survey stuff, the guy who typically, presents to us, I would like to have there that evening so that we can have a deeper conversation around and then dive into those numbers a little bit. So those are the two main things that I'd like to have both of those folks lined up, so maybe we just do two, we cap it at a couple hours each or something like that. So we'll
Okay.
put something together and get it out.
Good, thank you. Thanks, board members, for working with us. Okay, next item is board referrals. Any board referrals?
I just wanna make sure the board
Did I
is
miss that
aware
one?
that the
Oh, I'm sorry.
apportionment committee has been turning petitions in, for the
Reapportionment.
the reapportionment
Okay.
petitions.
Did you turn yours in?
Yes, Amber
Okay.
did.
And Dave?
Well, I'm still technically waiting for one signature, so I have
Okay.
19, I'm waiting for my 20th from my step.
I have 30.
Well,
So
I just turned in
see
20
why-
myself, and I think Marguerite did 30 or 35, so. I think
Okay,
we're
so we
about
should be
okay.
good, because Ken turned in some too. So we have the petitions collected, so we're taking the summer off, right? For the reapportionment, and it'll be brought before the annual meeting.
I did attend the King Town Hall meeting as a follow-up last night, and they had no other questions that were due fine with.
Okay,
And it was interesting talking to some of the people who still don't realize how the school district is identified and sorted out and all that stuff, so.
okay. Any other board referrals? I'll come back to the public comment. I missed it. Any others? I guess I just have one. I'd like to officially welcome Lonnie to the board. Known Lonnie for a long time, and I think he's going to be a great addition to the board. I really do feel that. Thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Public comment, any public comment this evening?
Yeah, thank the young lady behind me again. Good
Thanks,
job,
Bob.
appreciate it.
Any others? Okay,
And John for his years of service. You're
Oh,
almost
Yeah,
done.
that's right.
that's right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, next item is motion to go into closed session.
I so moved, school board.
Second,
Long.
motion is second to go into closed session.
Yep,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll make a motion.
is
Already
it?
made.
Falling asleep here.
Scoville,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Swente,
Yes.
Baloo,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Calhoun,
Yes.
Hughley,
Yes.
Kirsch,
Yep.
Kissinger Roll.
Yes.
Okay, we're in closed session. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You get to go home in daylight.
That was too.
I really